Hello and welcome back to Hudson Auto Films. Today we are doing something slightly different. For regular viewers, it is no secret that I like to buy silly, cheap cars off the internet without looking at them and often regret it. But unfortunately, that doesn't just pertain to cars. It's just about everything. And well, today I've done it yet again. As you can see, I have picked myself up an old cigarette vending machine. And I really did go all out on this one. This was a whole £5. I can see the comments now probably suggesting that it would have been better just to burn £5 rather than spend it on this. But if you think about it, this is just the middleman of burning money, you know? Quite literally. Anyway, but I just couldn't resist. It was at auction, nobody bidded on it, don't know why, apart from some smart young man. I don't know about you guys, but I'm still just of the era where I remember seeing these growing up in pubs, petrol stations, all that sort of thing. And obviously they disappeared very quickly. I must mention that I am not a smoker and I certainly do not recommend that one bit. But I saw it, it was cheap, and I think it's just a cool thing to have on the wall. I like the idea of being able to press the buttons and it dispense something. Not sure what that is yet, maybe it's a few nuts and bolts, I don't know. But I'd like to see if we can get it to work and just have some fun with it. Let's talk condition. Overall, it looks pretty good. You know, it's a bit dusty, a bit dirty, but everything is there. It doesn't look like it's taken any knocks too bad. One thing I can see is someone has tried to pry it open with a crowbar, as they do not have the key. So that is going to be one of the challenges of today, getting it open. Another small thing is the plug has been cut off. So we're going to clean it up, try and get it open, wire on a new plug, and see if we can get this thing to work. So let's make a start. I have to say, it's not particularly dirty. It's not the cleanest thing in the world, but, you know, for the life it's probably had, it's pretty good. It does smell a little bit like a Wetherspoons pub. It's probably where it did live, actually. Yum. We'll treat it to a little bit of a Autoglims glass cleaner. That's a little bit better. The Azkiyen S5. Wow, Chinook, 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 Chinook. They must have caught word that I was firing up the Azkiyen S5. It's hot stuff. So the next thing to do is try and get this open. As you can see down there, we have a vending machine style lock. So I'm not sure if this is like a universal key. It surely isn't, otherwise people could just buy one and get into any vending machine or, you know, other machine. But for some reason I did have one of these keys, I think from a bike lock or something, so let's try that. Right, so here is our key, so let's just try it out. Not doing anything. Well, it turns out they're not universal. I mean, I'm not particularly surprised. It would have been a bit silly just to have a completely universal lock, but it would have also been nice for us. Now it makes a little bit more sense why someone tried to pry it open. It does seem like we're loose at the top though, so whatever lock is at the top has been busted. But I think we're just going to have to drill it out, otherwise we'll never get in. The chances of finding the same key are pretty slim, so let's do it. Okay, so we managed to drill through, and now if I put my finger in, it kind of has a spring mechanism on it. So I'm going to see if I can kind of pry. I assume it's kind of like hooking over like that into a bracket. So I'm going to see if I can kind of get it out. Okay, so basically, because someone's done something at the top, they've managed to pry the lock. so I can actually reach the top point up here. So maybe I can lift it up. Come on. So basically I pried it back, trying to kind of hook it off the latch, and the bottom is now free. The whole thing is free. Right, let's prop this up and see what's inside. Will it be gold? Will it be silver? Will it be Marlboro Reds? We shall see. Crikey, it's quite a thing in there. And just like that, we have broken into the Azkyon S5. If I take you in for a closer look, as you can see, we've got these tags from Azkyon, which are basically detailing a little bit more information about it. Interestingly, the date of checking was in 1998, just a couple of months after I was born. So I'm probably roughly the same age as this thing. I'm told 1998 was a golden year for cigarette vending machines. And this blue tag is the company who I assume bought it and then rented these out to bars, petrol stations, and fulfilled them, refilled them, all that sort of thing. I did look into Azkyon, and they are still a thriving company. They still make cigarette machines, however their main focus is coffee machines. I'll insert a picture now on the screen at the kind of current model of cigarette machine they're making. As you can see, quite a dramatic difference, but the good stuff. As you can see here, this is kind of where all the packets of cigarettes would have been stacked. In this conveyor system, you can kind of lift this up here. I'll show you. And it allows me to pull that open. You load them in, close this. They're locked in place. Little diagram just there on the correct way to load them in. Then if I take you down, we've got a lot of cobwebs, a spider who unfortunately hasn't made it. Probably wasn't the best environment to live in. Some electrical component down there. And then taking you round, we've got the whole coin machine system. So this is where you put the coins in. It goes down into here and decides whether it's going to put it into this, which is the collection box, or if it's going to refund it. So that will be interesting to see if that system all works. This white portion here, as you can see, it kind of undoes. That is where you would put the branding in for the packets that you're selling. I'm not sure what that is. I assume this is just some kind of cover for an electrical system, but yeah, there we have it. We are inside the Azkyon. Okay, so now we've broken into the Azkyon. The next thing to do is see if we can get it to work. I'm going to give it a quick clean up, and then I'm going to put a plug on the back, and then hopefully it will come to life with no problems, but that doesn't usually happen. So let's do that and see where we're at. Okay, so we put a plug on, I plugged it in, and as you can see, something's happened. It made a click and the light came on saying it's on and it's got stock. It's making that classic kind of 80s, 90s electronics hum. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. What I'm going to do next is put some coins in it and see what happens. This is £11 worth of 20p's. It's going to take a little while. So after about £9 worth, it just spat it out. So let's open it up and see what it's doing. Okay, so on the inside, we have the red power button illuminated. That's more or less the only change. So what I'm going to do is put some coins in and just see where they go for now. I think maybe doing it with all 20p's is too heavy. Basically, I don't have any of the old £1 coins. When this was in use, England had a different type of £1 coin. So I think I just need to get heavier coins. To do it all in 20p's is just going to weigh it down, I think. Okay, well, I'm going to try one last thing. The cheapest packet in here is £9, and that's Benson and Hedges Blue. So we'll try load it up for that. £7.40 is the weight of 20p's that it gives up. Okay, so I've gone home and dug out some alternative coins. I have 3 £2 coins, and then I have about £4 or £5 worth of 50p's. So we're going to try and put these in, see if it doesn't trigger the refund, and see what happens. Okay, so we're at £9, which is the price of our cheapest pack. So I'm just going to press it and see what happens. We've got life. Okay, so we have some life. We only tested that one, as you saw, but what I'd like to do is cycle through them and kind of reset their position. If you see, there's these pins which are in kind of different places on each of them. Having just done the cycle in this one, it has appeared kind of on the underside of the back. So I think they all need to be positioned there. They've just kind of lost their way. So I'm going to do that, and we will then maybe try loading it up. Okay, so all of the conveyor belt things work, which is awesome. The one thing I've noticed is whenever I put the money in and cycle it around, it just eventually will refund the money. So even though it does the cycle, it never puts the money into the collection pot. So it obviously knows there's no packets in there. I'm not sure how it knows that. It's kind of doesn't seem a very sensitive machine, but it knows that. So the next thing to do is put a packet inside. I'm going to cover this up a little bit, as YouTube doesn't like this sort of thing, understandably. I've got this American style of sweets, which I'm going to put into the machine and see if it likes it. I have this because back in the day, like many youths, I did try eating sweets, but the trouble is I just didn't really get on with it very well. You know, I felt cool at the time, but it wasn't very nice long term, and I have a health condition, which means if I do anything remotely bad to my body, I really do feel it. So this is kind of the only relic of a few weeks where I thought I was Steve McQueen. But yeah, we're going to load it in and see what happens. Okay, interestingly, it spat it out, as you'd expect, but also it moved the money into the coin collection. I'm not sure how it did that. There's a very small tab on the very back. So these are our little conveyor drivers. I'm not sure quite how it works. Basically, obviously, our conveyor goes round, and it triggers this at the back. And it's got this little spring, but the spring doesn't go anywhere. So I'm not quite sure how it then registers that the money needs to go into the collection pot. Cool, we've got a working machine. I just love stuff like this, getting it working. I mean, I know I didn't have to do much to get it working, but it's just really cool. I just, you know, for £5, I've had a lot of fun. So yeah, we've got it working. All it needed was some plug and some power, and it came back to life. I'm not sure if there's going to be a sequel to this. I think it's done its bit. But for £5, what a machine. Really cool. It's always interesting opening things up that you would never typically look into. I don't know about you guys, but I'd never ever thought about what was inside one of these vending machines until I saw it appear. And now I know, and now you guys know. So I very much hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, and even if you didn't, please do like, share, subscribe, comment, all that sort of thing. It really does help me out. Next week we'll be back working on a vehicle. I'm not sure at this point in time if it's the 4x4 Aston or something else that I have also accidentally won at an auction, but we shall see. If you'd like to support the channel further, I have linked my Patreon down below. Over there I do behind the scenes stuff, early access, kind of day-to-day updates on the various things I'm working on, which now you know is kind of more than just cars. It's all sorts of, you know, fascinating items. But yeah, please do check that out if you can. But regardless, I'm just very grateful that you are here. So until next time, take care and I'll see you then.